Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Deep Rock Galactic. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zarel. Let's get to it. Alright, so today we're doing the Deep Dive, codename Wild Raid. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. So let's get into it. The first stage of the Deep Dive has you mining morkite and digging for alien eggs with the modifier of low oxygen. So this one, if you have a match-made team, this is probably the most difficult stage of the deep dive. Unless you are conversing verbally with your team, it's going to be difficult to ensure that everyone is, on the same page in terms of where they need to be, especially because the mule's the only other place that you can get oxygen. The other one is resupply pods. Now, speaking of that, you need to get nitra in order to get resupply pods and call those in. So you're going to look for any nitra and all nitra that you find on the stage, in addition to gold. Gold will give you credits at the end of the deep dive. Nitra you can use to call in resupply pods, which you may want and or need for this stage, not because of the ammo, but because of the oxygen that they bring to the party. So make sure you keep your eyes open for all the morkite. You can check the train scanner for where the alien eggs are. There's only 2 alien eggs that you have to get. It could spawn a swarm. Now, with the whole low oxygen thing, do be sure that you're at least trying to let people know where you're going to be at and what you're doing, so that everyone can either stay together or disperse and then come back together at the same time, or in a place noted, so that things don't go out of hand and people start going down because they run out of oxygen, which of course is a problem, especially if everyone is trying to call the mule at the same time. So if you have one person that needs oxygen and they are farther away from the rest of the team, it's going to go downhill pretty quick. You're going to need to go over to the other person to bring them up, or they're going to need the mule to get oxygen so they don't die. No matter what, it's not a great modifier, but it is what it is. So make sure that you're doing what you can in order to keep everyone supplied with oxygen. And if not, you're going to be having to deal with people going down because of limited oxygen. The side note, of course, is that you can call in a resupply pod in an emergency that will keep the oxygen flowing. So if nothing else, if all else fails, you can call in resupply, but only if you have 80 nitra in the tank. Now, once you have everything, all the morkite mined, plus the 2 alien eggs, call in that dropship and get out. But, and this could be actually the most difficult part, is keeping that air supply, keeping that oxygen as you're making a run. You only have about 30 seconds to a minute of oxygen, about a minute of oxygen total. So if you're next to the mule, you need to get to the drop pod, which does have oxygen, within that minute time. Now, if you are not able to, or if it is far away, then you're going to want to travel with the mule as it's going back so that you can maintain that oxygen level as you go. Now, it's a good time to point out that the deep dive is a raid-like environment with 3 stages. You can play either by yourself. In this stage, it'd be much easier to play by yourself, but it would be more difficult in most stages. So it's up to you what you want to do. You don't have to play solo. You don't have to play with other people. You can do whatever you want. You can play with your friends, or you can matchmake with up to 3 other people. So the choice is up to you, what you want to do. And like I said, this particular stage is relatively difficult because of the modifier. Ordinarily, mining Morkite and alien eggs, not that big of a deal, but because of the modifier, it makes it much, much more difficult. So hopefully, your team's not freezing you in place and you're not getting delayed, or the mule's not leaving you in the dust. Make your way back to the drop pod as quickly as possible, or follow the mule, depending on how far away it is. So make sure that you are doing one or the other depending on the situation. Once you get to the drop pod, then you're safe, because even being outside next to the drop pod is going to supply you with air, so you don't have to worry about running out once you get to the drop pod. So if you're within a minute's run with a full tank of oxygen, and you can see the meter on the right hand side there, then you're good to go. And you should be able to see the little oxygen tanks on the side of the drop pod, little blue tanks. And of course you'll see your oxygen meter go up once you get close enough. So that's it for the first stage. You made it without too many hiccups, hopefully, and you're ready to go on to the next part of the deep dive. Now, of course, each stage completed will get you 1 matrix core, which is the reason to be doing the deep dive in the first place. Matrix cores will give you either cosmetics, weapon skins, or overclocks for your weapons. All great things to have, and they all require gold or credits, and resources in order to do. All right, now we're on to the second stage of the deep dive. Unlike the first stage, there is no modifier, so you don't have to worry about low oxygen or anything like that. But this time around, you have escort duty for the drill dozer and repair 2 mini mules. So unlike a normal salvage mission, you only have to repair the mules. You don't have to do anything else. However, you do have to escort the drill dozer all the way to the Amaran Heartstone, and then you have to protect it and keep it operational. So make sure that you are repairing it. Make sure that at least one person is keeping an eye on it so it doesn't get destroyed. If it gets destroyed, there are 3 parts to the drill dozer. If 1 part or 2 parts gets destroyed, it's still okay. Now this stage, you do have to be aware and look out for detonators. If you see any detonators, take them out quickly before they get too close to the drill dozer, because they will destroy it very, very quickly. Now once you find and repair the mini mules, then you can start cracking the Amaran Heartstone. Once you have done that, once you've protected Doretta and gotten the Heartstone attached to the mule, it's time to get out. So go ahead and run your way all the way back to the drop pod. And you don't have to wait for the mule. Unlike the first stage, there's no low oxygen, so you can go ahead and go straight for that drop pod. You don't have to wait. And if you get there early, if you get there before the mule gets there, then you just have to defend the area until the mule docks and the doors are unlocked. If you follow the mule, you'll have to deal with the hordes, the swarms of bugs that are going to be coming after you. So the choice is up to you what you want to do. If you follow the mule, then you'll be able to get into the drop pod right away. If you don't, you just have to defend the drop pod area. Make it easier for your teammates to get into the drop pod when the mule does in fact dock with it. Now this is a good time to point out that everything carries over from one stage to the next, so all the gold and nitro that you mine will carry over. So make sure to get all the gold and all the nitro that you possibly can for the reasons that I stated earlier. And then of course your health, your ammo, your grenades, traversal, tools, all that stuff, however much you have at the end of one stage will carry over to the next stage. So just be aware of that. Alright, and that is the end of stage 2. Look at us go. We're already 2/3 of the way done with the deep dive. One stage to go. What could it be? Let's find out. Alright, so now we're on to the third and final stage of the deep dive. Deep dive, Wild Raid is what it's called. Now for this one, we do have modifiers unlike the last stage. This time around, we have parasites and rich atmosphere. We are doing a full salvage mission with 3 mini mules. So you need to scan the mini mule or find the legs, attach those legs onto the mini mule, and then repair it. Do that for each one of the 3. And then of course keep your eyes open for the morkite that needs to be mined on the sides and floor of the level. The morkite might actually be the more difficult part. The mini mules you can hear and see. They kind of have a pulsating glow around them. The morkite sparkles a little bit in the darkness, but otherwise is more or less invisible. It's not on terrain scanner or anything, so it's a little bit more difficult to get. Now for this deep dive, we got a special brew tunnel rat, which prevents some fall damage. So normal falls that would hurt or kill you, it'll only take maybe half of your health, or it won't take any of your health, depending on how far you fall and what you fall onto. Now to end this stage off, once you have the mini mules repaired and the morkite done, you just have to finish it off just like a normal salvage mission. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
Triangulation initiated. Do not leave the triangulation zone or we will lose the connection. We only got one shot at this.
Shield up.
Triangulation at 50%. Triangulation at 75%, almost there.
Check out these moves. I have experience left. Explosives, nice. Come and get me, you disgusting bug.
Uplink triangulation completed. Remote control reestablished. Stand by, sending in fresh fuel cells for the drop pod.
Guys, are you blind? We're here. All of this. I was born ready. Fuel cells for powering the drop pod. Platform up.
Fuel cells arrived. Connect them to the drop pod by dragging out the charge cable. Charge cable plugged in. Prep the fuel cells for charge sequence. Supplies are on the way. Fuel cells charging. Stay close to keep them operational. We're expecting an increase in hostiles. Stand back. Supply pod inbound. Supply pod requisitioned. Launching now.
Explosive spikes on ready.
Supply drop has been ordered and is on the way. Fuel cells at 50%.
Everybody connect ammunition.
Getting more ammo.
Ammo taken. Here, have a bullet in that fight.
Get away from me! Getting supplies. Ready to kill some more traitors. You leak fumbling son of a mudholder! We're on the same team! Shield ready again. Firewall! Access provided.
Fuel cells at 75%. You're almost there.
I'm not one of them little knobheads! Rocket stone! Cryo! Shield! Rocket stone! Yeah! Shoot them! Not me! Careful!
Fuel cells fully charged. Drop pod engine powering up. Hold your ground. We're almost ready to pull you and the goods out.
Getting supplies!
Pod reactor spooling up.
My order! Out of
Supplies are on the way.
I ordered a resupply!
Supply pod launched. Better stand back.
Explosive spikes.
Onboard mainframe booting.
Suckers! Time to restock!
Rocket stone.
Calculating orbital trajectory.
Ammo taken.
Powering radiation shielding.
It's my sin here to do.
I'll never get this.
I want night out!
Stop attacking me.
Ecom operational.
Here, get into cover!
Pod thrusters calibrated.
It's about to go boom.
Drop pod powered up and ready to leave. It's time to bring it all home. Get on board. We're leaving with or without you.
Think you can kill me? I'll think again. Ready to
Why are you
blow.
shooting at me? My goddamn
Out of ammo.
shield up! I ain't gonna kill off the enemy! Sentry gun needs assembly!
Good work. We're pulling it back in.
Rock on!
Rock and roll.
Stone! Yeah!
We fight for rock and stone.